Today, we will be touching on identity again. This is our second episode, and we're featuring such a powerhouse of a woman I cannot wait to introduce you to. And the reason behind this is because she actually was attacked and talked down on and mistreated because of how she identified. In the midst of being in support and showing love to others in her community. So I think that her story should be told and a conversation needs to be had. Also, in the midst of this, I give honor to the ancestor Nomad Winterhawk, who was one of my spiritual teachers to teach me dream work. He was my dream guru teacher. And he taught me the methods that I teach others today. And some of the methods that I utilize with my clients. And he was a Native American chief. And he was the first to teach us the lineage between Africa and Native Americans and how we are one people. So I keep his honor along with this episode. I keep his memory alive as a student with this episode. And that kind of gives you a little bit of the thought process of what we're about to discuss. All right? Identity, episode 2. Hi everybody, I'm Sister Outspoken, and this is the second episode of Identity. And I have the most amazing experience right now of being able to sit and talk with the beautiful. Let them know who you are.
Hi, I'm Eve. Everyone knows me as Mother Nature or Imani Ra.
So, not only am I just so happy to know this beautiful soul that is such a powerhouse for family, for community, for herself, that is a glow of spiritual energy, of beautiful just heart space. But I asked her to have this conversation because I actually saw a while back a video of her that went viral, and I saw that there were positive and negative feedbacks, but I wanted to talk to you about it.
Okay.
So what the video was, you went to speak at it was a school board meeting or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? How did you even end up being there?
Well, I am a member of Black Panther Party, and I had some friends that asked us if we could come and just show our support and solidarity with the Native American culture, because there was a teacher there named Candace Reed, and she was making a mockery and being very racist against Native Americans while she was teaching math class.
Oh, wow. So it wasn't like history, it wasn't geography or anything even relevant?
No, not at all.
Okay.
And what happened was they asked us to speak. You know, they asked if me and another comrade of mine could speak. So we decided that we were going to go up and go ahead and speak to the school board. And that's when everything just
blew up.
Right. It blew up.
Yeah. I'm also here with the Brown Berets. I'm also here with the Native American organizations as well. And what we have a problem with is the fact that this teacher, Candace Reed, is very disrespectful to the Native American culture. And that is totally unacceptable. So our demands is for her to be completely fired from being a teacher in all school districts, to not work at all, because we do not need our children to witness or even to be involved or be around anyone who's mocking our culture, because this is our land and it was colonized and it was stolen and so on and so forth. So we can go through all that. But the reality of it is our children do not need to see disrespect like that. Our children need to be educated with math, reading, things like that, not being disrespected at all.
So what was the nature of what you said?
Well, being that my family is also Native American. We're part Blackfoot as well. I stated that. I basically stated that, they came to this land and they stole this land from the Native Americans, and that this is our land and they are on stolen land. And it was very racist for her, Miss Candace Reed, to make a mockery and be very racist against the students and Native Americans while she was teaching. And they didn't like that. They didn't like the fact that I was wearing an RBG jacket with Marcus Garvey on the back, and I'm wearing red and black and green, and speaking unity basically.
Right.
And how dare she say that she's Native American, not knowing the true history of Native Americans also. So
that's very interesting. So in your energy, you were asked and invited to come and stand on behalf and support of these people.
Yes.
But they asked you to come not consciously knowing that you were doing it as one people.
Right. And I stated that. I said, this is our land, speaking on all of us as Native Americans, that this is our land. But they missed that part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's a lack of knowledge. So I got the opportunity to see a lot of the positives, which I was happy to have seen. And then a lot of the negatives. And they were identifying with their lack of knowledge of an aspect of themselves.
Yes, they were.
Because when you look at history, the farther you go, the blacker the Native Americans get.
Yes. Yes.
So the lighter they go, that's when the more time things have started to integrate.
Yes.
So at the moment in which they showed hatred to you, they showed a hatred to an aspect of their own identity.
Right. The fact that
their bloodline.
Yes.
It was a friend of mine. She's half Mexican, and she was telling me about a study I looked into on Mexican people. Because there was a lot of Mexicans that were attacking you, correct?
Yes.
So on Mexican people, and how the majority of Mexican people identify as white.
Yes, they do.
That's the stats. So what that means is the majority, not all. I know there's some people watching this right now. You holding it down for your ancestors. You know what tribe you came from. You know what happened within your bloodline, and you stand strong in that. But we're talking about the people who do not know and attack this woman because they did not know.
Right.
While their blood, though, the explosion in their DNA invited her.
Yes.
Because if they didn't know deep down that they were one people, she wouldn't have got invited by Native American groups.
Right.
Because it was groups that invited you, right?
It was groups. It was individuals as well.
Okay.
It was like, hey, come on down, and you guys should come and see, just see what's going on with this and stand in solidarity with us. And that's what we did.
Yeah.
And when we stood up, me and the other comrade, when we stood up and spoke, that's when it just kind of went in a different direction.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure the school board felt
what you were saying and what you stood for.
Yes.
And that was the importance of it.
Yes.
So it's like that happens a lot, where you can have something so big that you're standing for, and somebody decides to take a little something out of it just to have something to say.
Yeah.
But it's a display of their mindset.
Right.
And how far they are on their journey.
And their lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
their lack of knowledge and care of where they come from.
Right.
Because now here you are not realizing that you're identifying with the colonizer.
Yes.
You're identifying with the colonizer in your DNA.
Yes.
And being a person that knows I got a sprinkle of something in my genes somewhere, and a lot of black people in this country do.
Yes.
It's a choice of what we activate in our DNA.
Yes.
It's a choice to follow. Every day you follow a rhythm that lives in you. That's even without the body.
Yes.
And then there's little rhythms that are in the body. Because as you know, our data actually holds information. Our DNA actually holds information. It's a database passed down.
Yes.
So we can pass down our traumas. We can pass down
our creativities.
our creativities and our geniuses. You know, we can pass down our gifts, our spiritual abilities.
Yes, definitely.
You know,
yes.
and the culture. Or we can pass down other things that came into our blood and in our bloodline.
And the truth of the matter is, if we don't know who we are, if we don't talk to our ancestors, if we don't talk to our family, our elders, then we won't know who our ancestors are. Right. We won't know. And then we're sitting here wondering, how did I learn how to crochet so quick?
Right.
You know, and
it's natural.
Reason, right. It's inside of us. And we're like, oh, well, your great-great-great-great-great-grandmother used to weave or used to do things like that. And it's like, oh, well, that's how I know how, because they live within us. Right. So being that they live within us, it just comes out of us naturally. But if we don't talk and ask our elders these questions, our mothers, our fathers, our grandparents, if we don't ask questions, detailed questions, hopefully they can remember, then we won't know.
Right.
You know, so.
I saw a documentary called Grandma in the Closet. Ooh. And it was about, like, Mexican Americans, you know, and different people wanting to fit in. And owning the lighter complexions. Meanwhile, they have a grandma that's black as us. You know, in the closet.
They have to put her there.
Yeah.
Because of embarrassment.
Being ashamed of who you are, and the melanin that runs through your veins.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, knowing your tribe as a Native American is knowing your African tribe.
Yes. Definitely.
Because it's all a part of the diaspora. It's all a part of the migration.
Yes.
Because everybody came from Africa.
Yes.
So when you know your tribe as a Native American, which just means that you were born, your people were born native in these lands after migrating, you know your African tribe. So they can really claim that if they wanted to. But at the end of the day, whether if you claim that or not, it's still the knowledge of we come from the same place.
Yes, we do.
And it's strong still in our blood.
Yes. Because
we're operating in this way. You know, we're standing for these similar things.
Yeah.
We have similar practices. Why? Our tribes must have been similar.
Yes, definitely.
You know? Yes. And it's interesting what we identify with. What connects with us. What connects with our mind, what connects with our spirit. Like, I like when you were talking to me about the history of the division. What was the guy you were telling me about the other day?
The guy's name is Walter Pleckard.
Okay.
Yeah, so if we look up Walter Pleckard, we'll find out a whole lot of information about him. But he's one of the many that caused the division, that basically didn't want melanated people to know who they are in the United States. So that's where all the different names come in at, you know, black or colored or things like that, because the original definition of native meant copper colored people. But here he come, him and his crew, you know, oh no, we can't put the news out that they were here before us and we came and we just set up shop and said this is what we do, you are this, you are that, and you guys are separated. We can't have them know who they are. So let's put this lie out here. So when you have lack of knowledge and lack of not knowing the truth, lack of knowledge, you go along with the lie.
Right.
And the sad part about it is nowadays, and I can't even say nowadays, but I'll say that for the grace of this conversation, lies equals truth and truth equals lies. Yeah. So people believe lies before they will believe the truth. And that's very sad.
It's very sad, and it's very dangerous in this time of social media.
Yes.
Because people are being taught through Instagram posts.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and just little clips without doing the research. Even the stuff that we're saying right now. Do the research.
Please do.
You don't have to just look at this because it came up on your timeline and just take it as
truth or a lie.
Yeah, or truth or a lie. You know, like actually look it up. And that's the problem. Nobody wants to do research. They don't care, and that's what makes society so easy to manipulate.
Yes, definitely.
Like when people are just lining up for experiments and not even asking questions, that was a conditioning for a long time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Brainwashing.
Right.
Yeah.
But we're going to get to that kind of stuff later because that's a lack of knowledge too.
Yes, definitely.
Because when you can move through people in mass groups through fear,
you can make people do anything.
You can make people do anything, and knowledge is power.
That's
how we know what to identify with.
Yes.
That's how we can feel what's conflicting with our DNA and what's not. What's a manipulation and what's not.
Right.
What do you identify with in the world when you see it? Is it what's conditioned because it's just like virtually you've been programmed, so you identify because you see it a lot, or is it like inside of you?
Right. And I want to speak on that. What's inside of us? It's our intuition. We say women have intuition. Men have it too. You know, we know what feels right and what's not, what doesn't feel right. You know, if you hear something that just doesn't sit right in your spirit, but the world makes you feel different or think different, then we go along with that because we forget about self and we forget about who we are.
Okay, so you know what? Let's pause that for a second. Get some water. It's hot out here, and we're gonna be right back. So we are back, you guys. But we're actually walking around this museum right now. The kids was getting a little antsy. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna continue this conversation for a second. And I think you were talking about, what were you talking about? Being true to yourself?
We were talking about identity and remembering self. As far as our ancestors and our elders, you know, it's important to speak to our elders and find out who they were and what they went through and the history behind their knowledge and, you know, things like that.
So I think that I've been talking to Eve, and when we talk about our ancestry and we talk about our bloodlines and things of that nature, there's something that a story of hers that stands out to me, because I think of history when slaves were kind of taken in by the Native Americans in those lands because they were free people. They knew the lands and they used to take them in. And then she was telling me about her grandmother. Tell me about your grandmother.
Well, my uncle told me about how my grandmother would allow the slaves to come in and in case they needed to hide them, you know, or if they needed a place to stay. So she would invite them into the house to help them out as far as, you know, refuge, to keep them safe, you know. And the crazy thing about it is what we were talking about earlier is knowing what's within our DNA and remembering who we are and asking questions, you know, to our families and asking them what did they like to do or what did they do, because within us it's within us also, but we won't know that until we ask. So what my grandmother used to do is she used to bring people in to hide the slaves, you know, and that's what I do. You know, I help people. So if they need a place to stay or it's late at night, you know, I say, come on in, you know. So that has to do with remembering who we are, you know, and talking to our elders.
Let's talk over here. Okay. And one thing I will say is she definitely lives. Oh, we gotta. Okay, hold on, you guys. Why are we talking about DNA? You see that?
Right.
So she definitely lives her DNA, you know. And every day, as we walk around, as we experience, we are experiencing our ancestors. We are the reincarnation. The data lives on through the DNA.
Yes.
So what expression are you of your ancestors? Are you like Miss Eve here? Are you the refuge, the caretakers, the strong points for the land, the protectors of the land and of the people? Who are you when you represent your bloodline? And what aspect of you do you identify with? That was season 2. I mean, not season 2. That was episode 2. Identity. Thank you, Miss A. Thank you. And all her other many names. I feel like I'm just honoring her. Say all your names.
Well, I'm Eve. A lot of people know me as Eve also. They know me as Amani Ra, or they know me as Mother Nature. Yes.
There you go, y'all. That's Queen, Goddess, Mother Nature, Amani Ra, Eve, better too. So we're going to walk around here and have some fun and go get the kids and stuff. So, yeah, peace.
Remember who you are.
Remember who you are.
Don't forget.
Understand what you're identifying with and live in that.
Yes, live in your truth.
Live in your truth.
Much respect, fam.